This week on the podcast, we had a chat about Nigel Farage's new hardcore band. We've yet to come up with a name for them, so if you've got a name for them, drop it in the comments. But the actual bands we reviewed, Ben recommended Los Campesinos. I always want to say them as a Mexican man. Are they not? They're not Mexican. Oh, we'll find out more on the podcast. Who did I recommend to Ben? Transit. They're not Mexican.
No.
Oh, shit. Close. Yeah. I recommended Transit, Listen and Forgive, which it turns out Ben's actually listened to Transit loads before after telling me he hadn't at all. And then we've got a bonus band review, which we did. We went and did a flashback. It's been 20 years since Taking Back Sunday released Where You Want to Be. So yeah, we went back and harked back to the good old days of Taking Back Sunday being at I'd call their pomp, or in and around their pomp. So yeah, enjoy. Ben, what did I actually even ask you to listen to this week?
A very specific note.
Yeah, what did I ask you to listen to?
Yeah, you have to finish that. You asked me to listen to Transit, Listen and Forgive.
Ah, that was it. I completely forgot. Yeah, no, completely forgot.
Amazing.
Hit me with it. What are we saying?
Well, I mean, oddly, I do know. I'm so bad with band names, it turns out, and I'm really good with album covers. So when I searched it after you'd told me to listen to it, I was like, oh, I listened to one of their albums loads. And it wasn't that one, thankfully, because that's the point of it.
You know why the album cover thing is, though, right? Like, what's that? For context for people listening, me and you both, we worked in competing record stores, next to each other.
They were next door, weren't they? I was thinking,
used to see each other every morning, but worked in different record stores, literally Virgin and HMV facing next to each other, like one door apart. It wasn't competitive at all, but I'm the same as you. If you could show me an album cover of Led Zeppelin 2, and I'll be like, I just know them off by heart. I've got almost like a photographic memory when it comes to album covers. So that makes total sense in what you just said.
Yeah. I'd never even pieced that together, to be honest, and you're 100% right. Yeah. I'm so, the fact that I noticed that over band names is insane, though. I would say band names are more important. I need it in front of me. So I'd honestly listen to Joyride, which is their last album, although it came out in 2013 or whatever. So much. And just the name just did not ring a bell, which is terrible. But I loved that album. Not when it came out. I was really late to them. I didn't even realize it was that old, to be honest.
Same.
But I think it must have just come up on a compilation on Spotify or something. And it was over summer as well. And that's such a great summery album, Joyride.
Yeah, proper summer.
It's quite different to, fairly different to Listen and Forgive, I would say. It's a lot maturer and a bit more indie. But it's still big old pop bangers, for sure. So yeah, long story short, I really like Listen and Forgive. I already liked Transit, it turns out. It's really good.
I was hoping it was going to be a new band. You were like, oh, I've heard of Transit. We do this thing where we tell each other music, and then I'm like, I've heard that, apart from when you give me these random obscure ones.
Yeah.
I am trying to do that, but I also know that you're bad for, which famously you told me the other week, you've never listened to Paramore's Riot, which is going to be on the list at some point. But you're like that sometimes, in that I think we both said it before, sometimes we were a bit snobby with bands before, or you'd see the name. I was
very snobby for a bit. And I don't think I am at all now, and I'm happy to listen to anything, but I was a bit of a dick for a bit, which is why I'm looking forward to this, discovering stuff maybe. And some of it I just genuinely missed and just was at the wrong time for me. But yeah.
Some of it probably for the better.
Yeah. That's what is weird with this, because the name rang a bell, and obviously, like I say, I knew Joyride, but I don't know if it's because I'm not inquisitive or something, but in my head, Joyride came out in I don't know, if I'd had to have guessed, I would have said 2021. But
oh, wow.
They're an older band. They formed in 2006 and split up in 2016. But
that's the best. I like it when bands split up. I actually like, most of the time, my favourite bands are bands that aren't a band for a period of time.
Yeah, 10 years is good as well. I like that. Clean.
Yeah. Solid. In and out. A few pop bangers, we're gone. See ya.
I think I went through that spell where all my favourite bands had split up, and they'd split up like before I was old enough to go and see them. And they all like hated each other, and I was like, well, I'm never going to see any of my favorite bands. And then luckily we're in a time now where like every gig is a legacy band.
Yeah, I don't know.
I got to see like Refused and American Football and all these bands that I'm like, I never thought they'd come back, and they did.
I think that's made it better. Like I like that with bands anyway. I think I like a bit of mystery. I like a bit of why did they split up, or like, is this person a dick? Was that person a dick? We don't know. Like kind of thing. You never know the story. I like that kind of. I don't know. I like a bit, not the drama, but I just like the fact that you can't have it. Like I find that classic, innit? Can't have it. You want it more.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you're the same as me. We stay on the normal side of it. Like I noticed it with the Every Time I Die split up. There was a lot of weird fans, it turns out, who like really pick a side and act like they know what's going on. It's like, you don't know shit. Like why are you getting so involved in this? Like I wasn't even really sad about it. It's a band splitting up. It's fine. And my favorite band ever. They had a good run. It's really sad it ended how it did. But I am fascinated by like the mechanics of bands, and like you say, the drama. There is a lot of intrigue there, and I like to know how it works. But then it can move on to like, I think it's called like parasocial relationships in it, when you basically think you know celebrities and like, come on, it's fine.
That's when you meet them in real life, and you're like, hey, and then like you're God. Like, oh yeah, I think we met Every Time I Die, didn't we? And we were both a bit.
I think you and Chris.
Me and Chris met. Yeah, you were. Yeah, and we were like, like I don't know. You feel like you kind of know people because you know their music and you've seen clips of them, and you're a bit over familiar, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know about that. I heard someone telling the story last week that they saw Nigel Farage in a lift and they said hello to him.
What fucking band was Nigel Farage in, Ben? Nigel Farage's deathcore band.
They were like, hey, and let me just point out, I mean, can't stand the man. This person couldn't stand the man. But they were like, I've seen him so much that just quick split decision is like, oh, I know them. Like, I literally know them, so I'm going to say hello. And then you quickly realise, like, no, that's the fascist one I've seen on TV a lot.
That is the lead singer of...
What band?
I'm trying to... Oh, my God, what band name?
Screwdriver. Who was that Nazi punk band? Screwdriver, I think.
There you go. Whatever. Yeah. I was trying to think of some sort of pun, but I feel like the climate is quite heated at the moment, and I don't feel like I want to put something out on the internet about that. But
just clarify, anyway, we're not fans.
Not fans of his band or his policy. Yeah. So sorry, Ben, we've digressed a bit. Transit.
We really have.
Do you like it or not?
Yeah, I think I totally got their time frame wrong. Again, this is probably the period I totally missed, which is part of the reason we're doing this. So I just had no context of when they were about, really. And they've got that sort of sound where it like could be any time in the last 20 years.
Yeah,
I guess. But I mean, it's a great album. I love it. Just big old pop bangers. And it's obviously a lot more like immature is the wrong word, but I can't think of a better one than Joyride, which is going to be my point of
less polished.
Yes, like just
like
like more
that.
Innocent in a good way. It's obviously an earlier album, so it's a bit more like emo-y and floppy hairy.
Like as bands get better, they want to write better songs, and quite often that means better structured, and that ends up being more poppy, right? Because you want to write the ultimate verse, chorus, break, chorus, like type setup, and it leads you down a path. And I feel like when you're in a band at the beginning, and I feel like this was their first, or there was an EP before this album, I feel like they're the songs you played for like 3 years in some shit pub somewhere and clubs and whatever, and you really hone in on what makes those songs good. And they've got a bit more energy about them. And then you write stuff after, and sometimes it becomes about the songwriting.
Yeah.
And sometimes, some bands anyway, it becomes a bit more polished, I always find, and like becomes a bit more, not the word isn't cookie cutter, but do you know what I mean? It is a bit more like what makes a good song, good intro, good like, and there's less room for like experimentation, and like what works live, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I think the thought process is, I always find this fascinating as well. Like, it's similar with comedians, I think, but like that first album was written most of the time in such a different like headspace than anything else you could do going forward. Unless, you know, to be fair, a lot of the bands we like, probably nothing changes after they release their first album. They're still just playing Toilets and whatever. But yeah, if you get any sort of success or tour or anything, like you say, that's all the songs you wrote, the first songs you wrote, and that's maybe you thought that was the only songs you were going to write, and you were probably young, and I do find that interesting. So yeah, this one is like a bit more innocent, but I really like it. Like, yeah, they just really know a pop hook.
They do.
And like, yeah, I mean, again, I'm going to keep going back to it, but Joyride, I saw, like you said, I saw it like referred to as their more indie grown up album. But I mean, the reason I liked it is because it's still just a big old poppy bang. Like, it's just poppy bangers galore. I love it. It's so country. Like, it's amazing. I love that album. But yeah, this is great, man. I'm a big fan. Song wise, what did I like? Long Lost Friends, I really liked.
Banger.
Which is song 2, I think.
Yeah.
Which I have an irrational feeling that is always the best song on an album.
2 or 7.
2 or 7, thank you. It's so true. I saw like a meme of this the other day that they absolutely nailed. Like, it was talking about number 1 being the calling card that the band think is a calling card and no one else gives a shit about. 2
or
is
an
the best
intro song. I'm over intro songs where it's like, this is the intro to the album.
3 is the one that the label think is a single, but the band aren't sure about. It properly nailed it. Yeah, but you're right. 2 and 7. If I'm like checking out a band and just see the album, I'll listen to track 2 first every time.
That's a fucking mental thing to say.
Obviously, they put
when I put an album on, I start at 2 because I'm so fucking alternative.
I'm just like checking them out quickly. I haven't got time for albums. I'm a busy man.
It's quicker if you fuck number 1 off.
Yeah, exactly. 1 gone. 3, 2, 6 gone. 7 and 11.
Have you Ben? Have you just got shuffle on Spotify? Is that what you've done?
I've never listened to a full album. I don't know what they are.
Amazing. So, song titles. I can't actually remember apart from like Listen and Forgive.
Oh shit! I only wrote a couple down.
Are they any good? What are you saying to song titles?
Wait a minute. I wrote a couple down. So yeah, there was. I think they were all. Again, we've had this a lot, haven't we? Where it's just quite generic. Mm-hmm. It feels like a dig, but what do you want from song titles, really?
No. They're
going to be insane. So yeah, I mean, Long Lost Friend. That's much of a muchness. What was the other one I liked as a song?
Listen and Forgive, like the album.
That's a good song.
Oh, Your Heart. What a banger.
That is a tune.
I literally nearly just burst straight into the chorus then because it's just such a like. It's quite emo-y, that. It's like a really emo-y pop punk album.
Yeah.
But without being pop punk in the sense of like, Story So Far.
Yeah.
It's a bit more. It's got a bit. It's a bit more in the highs than it is in the like. It's got less like drive behind it a little bit. It's a bit washy, but I like that.
It's a bit more old school emo-y.
Yeah, that's the right description.
Like what I think of as emo when people say emo, and then I have to check myself. Because, you know, it's changed.
It's not My Chemical Romance. Yeah.
No one likes the term anyway, do they?
I do.
They're all so emo, it's mental. Over Your Head, Skipping Stone, Cutting Corners. It's quite generic. Asleep at the Wheel. You can't miss it. It's everywhere.
Oh, that's a banger as well. That is a banger album. They are just good pop songs. You're right, 100%. What's that album you're saying on the album cover as well?
Oh, yeah. A song title that really changes when you get the intonation wrong is always great. You can't miss it. It's everywhere. Great. Right, album cover. It is good. Is it? Wait. I do like. It's very emo, actually, isn't it?
It is very. It's very like 2000s emo. I seem to remember.
It really is. Yeah, I mean, it came out in 2011. I would say the album cover looks dated for then.
It does. It's very MySpace. Bandy. Yeah, very MySpace local band.
I mean, I'll say it's and I do like it, but yeah, it feels quite free CD you'd get.
Yeah,
at the local
it would be
venue.
in a cardboard thing where the CD slid in and out. I mean, I'm saying
100%.
that as if that's a bad thing. We've all done it.
Yeah, this is all.
I think
It's
everything I
amazing how
ever
often
released
we
was
say
in cardboard. Yeah.
how often we say things that sound like insults, but we mean as compliments.
No. Oh, it's a compliment. It's in one of them shitty things that we've all done. Yeah.
And I hated it. Go fuck yourself. No, it really does. And it would have been my favourite album, and I would have been like, or my favourite EP. A local band had given me, and I'd been like, oh, mate, have you heard Transit? They're so good. So the album artwork, I like it. I'd pop it up in
What room? What room?
I feel like they're all being the same at the minute. I'd go... No, I wouldn't go bedroom.
Sexy.
I'd go downstairs toilet.
Yeah, that's just such a like... A downstairs toilet means it's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how you'd like. Also, I do think the album cover, looking at it versus how kind of the album is quite, although it's emo, it's quite bright, like in sound. I feel like the album cover is almost a bit moodier than the album.
Yeah, definitely, man. You wonder if that was just like the trend of the time, maybe.
Yeah, it is a bit.
Sorry, I'm just looking at it, and they're hard as well, aren't they? Album covers. Let's face it. Sometimes you just sort of see a picture and think, or if you've taken a picture and you think we don't have to pay for that.
Yeah.
Let's slap our name on it. They're difficult.
Yeah, I agree.
We've been in bands. Have we had any good covers? Oh, you took the picture for one of our bands, and that was really good.
Oh yeah, I was away with work in Berlin, drunk. I finished really late, and we went out for some beers. Basically the whole trip was that. And we were playing foosball, and then we all kind of got bored and were sitting down, and then I just took a photo of the foosball table, but they'd turned the lights off to try and get us out of the bar, and it was just the lights over the foosball table. But it looked really cool. Again, that was pretty emo, actually, when I think about it.
Yeah.
Can't get much more emo. It's very street light, like kind of over one, but very Jimmy Eat World, Futures, like that kind of thing. But...
We need to make a list of things that are pop punk that aren't pop punk. So like foosball. It's just really pop punk. I don't know what I can't explain. Just is really pop punk.
Pizza,
really pop punk.
Pizza's so pop punk. I did. I'll find it and I'll put it back out on the first Instagram. So go and make sure you're following us on Instagram. But I did like a slam dunk bingo card, and it was like guys wearing a tank top vest, someone referencing pizza. Yeah. What was the other ones? There were some good ones on there that were just like the most generic pop punk things, like Dickie shorts and socks pulled up, like that kind of like a Tom DeLonge pop punk look. I'll find it and put it up because I think they were some of the most
nautical shit. That was the other stuff.
Yeah. An
just
anchor.
Nautical shit. Brackets general.
An anchor tattoo.
Well pop punky.
Yeah.
There's no reason, no rhyme or reason for it, but I love it. Again, I agree. Sounds like an insult. I love all of this. This is why we're here.
No problem with it. All right, what are you rating it? What are you rating it out of 10, Ben?
I would give it 7. Feels really high. I don't know why.
It does.
7. That's like a good album, isn't it? Yeah, 7 out of 10. I really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
I really like them. It turns out they're like an interesting band. I really liked reading up on them, and I don't know what they're doing now, but they've got some chops, man. I wonder if there's any songwriters there or. I don't know. A lot of these guys.
I wonder if one of them's still doing something. We might have to do a bit of research.
Yeah, like their pop hooks are just unbelievable. So I'd go 7 out of 10. I think I prefer Joyride, but that's the first one I heard. Sometimes that is just the case, isn't it?
Always skews it.
Yeah, exactly. But I really liked this. Good shout. 6.2% already. Where's Dad bought it for me? It says a barrage of flavours on the front. I don't know if that's a good thing, really.
Speaking of barrage, I mean, we've already mentioned Nigel. And now onto a barrage of music. I'm probably going to cut that out.
No, I loved it. Keep it. I didn't realise we were chatting. Danny.
Go on. Yeah.
Do you remember what album I gave you last week?
I don't know how to say the name. I know what you gave me to listen to because I listened to it.
Well done.
I don't know how to. I'm going to murder their name. This is a band This is what you say every week, which is I've heard of them,
Yeah.
but I've never really listened to them.
No, that's
And
fair.
I thought they were an indie band. I mean, not that they're not a bit indie sounding, but like, I don't know why. I thought they were like, I don't know, Two Door Cinema Club or something. I don't know. I thought they were like really indie, is the only way I can describe it. And I'd heard the name around and I'd seen that they were playing festivals and blah, blah, blah. But I never knew, and I'm pretty sure you boys had mentioned them, like our friend group and stuff like that. And I always just assumed for some reason the name made me feel like they weren't going to be my thing. But it's Los Campesinos, so I'm not just teasing for an hour.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say the name of the band or the album. Los Campesinos, yeah. And the album you told me to listen to, the album you told me to listen to was All Hell, which is their new album.
Yeah.
Which sometimes is good, sometimes is bad. Sometimes like you need to go back and start at the beginning, like you kind of said about Transit. Like maybe that would be a better way of starting.
Yeah, context
than jumping straight in.
Can't it?
100%. But yeah, like I said, I thought they were an indie band.
Well, I would say you weren't wrong, to be fair.
I feel a bit more emo-y though than
album, but like the song was Yumi Dancing, which you'd probably recognise. And I mean, it's well Two Door.
Was that this band?
Yeah, like the Wombats, I always think are kind of similar. Lost much better, don't get me wrong. But yeah, so you're definitely not. You were right. But they're
right.
Really
okay,
cool, always have been.
Yeah. Like that Yumi Dancing, like I've been out and heard that. Like,
it's an absolute banger.
In places, it is a banger.
But that's much more like geeky indie, yeah.
That is exactly what I thought. This was like Winkle Pickers and tight black jeans. Like, I thought that was the.
I reckon they were into all of that.
Yeah, they love all that.
Yeah,
and like a hat, a bit like one of them big hats, like a Pete Doherty hat. You know what I mean? Just like twat hat, indie twat hat. That's what they're called officially. It's what you have to ask for in River Island. I actually did see them at Trees, I think, at some point, either last year or this year. Like I think they were just like on in the background and we were like having a beer and stuff.
Yeah.
And they were fine. But this album which I listened to, which was All Hell, I mean, good album title.
It's good, isn't it?
I like that. Yeah. And but this to me wasn't like indie. It's still a bit of an indie. There's guitars in it, right? So you can argue it's indie. But yeah, first thing was like the harmonies. Just chef's kiss, on point the whole way through. Is there a girl in the band as well?
Yeah.
Or is that just a guy with a really high... Okay. Because when both of them sing at the same time, or maybe there's even three of them, it sounds like three-part. You're better.
Well, to be fair.
Okay, cool. That is amazing. Like, that was like the highlight for me, was like all of those things. There's a lot of... Which is probably a bit indie as well, but like, it's quite twinkly.
Yeah.
Is a word when I was listening to it that came to mind. Like it sounded like there was it might be keyboard or something, but it sounded like glockenspiel or something like that. Like kind of the only way I can describe it is quite plinky plonky in places and a bit twinkly, which I didn't mind like at all. But I was like, it's quite unique. It did sound quite like they've got their own sound, definitely.
Yeah.
Now you said about that other song, it makes a bit more sense. And I need to go back and listen to those albums maybe then, because I mean I say that as if I don't like indie. Like Block Party are one of my favorite bands of all time. Like I like indie. I just thought it was going to be more of that kind of, like I said, Two Door Cinema Club kind of thing, which it sounds like it might have been a little bit. I loved it. I thought it was really good. I thought loved it's actually a bit strong. I liked it.
Yeah,
it's not getting super high score from me.
That is fair.
And I think it was good, but sometimes I listen to albums and I'm like, cool, you can do that really good. Like, give me a little curveball in here. Give me a little like jaggedy one, or give me a little like, I don't know, slow one, or like. And it was, I feel like I got lost as to like the songs. I feel like there's a couple of songs that kind of just bled from one to the other. Which I suppose is recording an album. It has a sound, I guess, but like, I don't know, it lost me a little bit basically. And this is becoming a common theme actually on this podcast. Maybe it's because TikTok has ruined my attention.
I know, man.
Span,
I'm worried, honestly.
I don't know. I am a bit worried that I can't listen to a whole album.
But this might be the album that has saved me, I think. Like, I don't remember getting as obsessed with a whole album as this for
Oh, wow.
years. Like, I just cannot stop listening to it. I think it's bloody amazing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and like the whole thing.
Oh.
I mean, I don't disagree with what you say. Obviously, that is totally fair. But yeah, I've just got like probably since that.
But you like all of that.
Just listening to a whole album, I just love it so much. It's so good.
Yeah.
I love everything about them. Like they've totally self-funded it, self-recorded it, which is amazing because it sounds.
Oh, nice.
And it went to like
it did sound good.
Number 14 in the album charts. And was like the only like independent thing in the album charts, which I just love.
Okay.
Anyway. But they're just really cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I love them. They strike me as people who probably have jobs, like probably just doing their own shit, and then got together and recorded this, and people are going mad for it, which I'm so happy about.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. I didn't hate it or anything. No. I just think maybe, it was just a bit another slow twinkly song.
Yeah, no, that is man.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I like that kind of music. Like I like it was a bit somber in places as well. Like maybe somber is the wrong word, but you know what I mean. It wasn't the most uplifting sometimes. And I don't get me wrong, I love emo-y stuff. I don't know. Sometimes with bands like that, like I'll listen to like I don't know, like the Hotelier, like, and they'll have a song like one of those songs on that album.
Yeah,
and I'll enjoy that song. But then it goes into something else, and there'll be script, like I don't know, there'll just be a variation in what they're doing, and that was the bit that I was like didn't really catch me on it, but it's still good. Like I still really liked it, like, but it wasn't, and also it wasn't pretty like American football pretty.
No,
it wasn't like pretty enough, but then it wasn't emo enough for me, so that's why it kind of fell in a bit of a crack down the middle. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I would say that the album title,
oh my god,
and the songs titles are
also
going back
lyrically,
to you saying that.
I think lyrically it's the best. It might be the best album I've ever heard lyrically. I mean, it's bonkers.
Wow. Okay, I should have listened to it.
Like I
should have read the lyrics.
Lyrics normally, like I'm not that fussed really, but yeah, for some reason this one has really stood out. And his lyrics are always good, but on this, are just next level. Like I don't know what the album's about as a whole really, but some of the lines, I can't remember any. But yeah, I would definitely.
I don't know what he's on about, but
yeah, not a clue. But yeah, it's some of his.
I do miss doing that.
He's always talked about football loads, which I love in like a heartfelt indie band. He has always mentioned football. And he does on this album a few times, which is such
I noticed that.
A cool juxtaposition, like to just throw some football references in. I think he's a Chelsea fan as well, like you. So he's definitely made some Chelsea references in the past.
I try not to talk about it too much.
Oh, yeah. I can't remember. There was a great football lyric on one of his old albums. I'll have to send it to you.
There was a good reference in this one. I forgot to write it down, but there was a good little. Oh, it's going to annoy me. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, there was some. I did smile.
Yeah.
Say that again.
It was one about a Bundesliga boy. That's the only one I can remember that's like football based.
Oh, okay. There's definitely one or two football-y kind of things. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought the song titles are amazing.
So good.
Like, what was it? Spit or a bite mark in the shape of the sunflower state. Like,
I mean, that's ridiculous, isn't
it? Coin op guillotine.
Yeah, that
was a great title. And To Hell in a Hand Job.
That's one of those where you write it down and they're like, can we do that? Is that silly?
Can we call it that?
Yeah.
Like, it does make a song that is probably quite, I don't know, about something important.
Yeah.
Probably like a bit less serious. But yeah, To Hell in a Hand Job. I love that. I think I might get that. If I die, Ben, and we're still friends, can you get that on my grave? Don't threaten me.
This guy.
If I ever die,
you're arrogant.
It's not arrogant. It's
I
could never die.
Daddy, I'm so sorry.
Don't threaten me. This is all recorded, mate. But yeah, I thought the song titles were great. Like there weren't really any generic ones on there.
No,
there wasn't any like Alone or anything like that. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It was all like quite like, I don't know, funny or different or a bit random.
Boring, isn't there? Moonstruck.
No, not at all.
But then in the context of
not at all.
Feast of Tongues. I mean, the song title's incredible. I also think it's going to be my song of the year, man. Like, I can't get over it.
That is the song that I've written down here.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Like that was the one that I really liked.
Bloody hell!
It is. That's like that's what I think every other song on it, I was like, be that good. And they weren't, for me anyway. And that was why I think like I liked it, but didn't like it that much.
No,
I think
that
the
is
album
true.
cover, though,
Oh yeah,
the album cover is really cool. The album cover looks like some sort of like horror movie
I'm not really taking it
thing.
in as much as I've listened.
It's like
to
again, going back to like a street light. It's not like a street light, but it's like, it's the headlights on a person in like in the woods.
Yeah,
Like lighting up a silhouette or kind of, I don't know, is that a person? It's hard to tell. It's quite small.
almost like a smiley face.
Yeah, and then the car brake lights, or I guess they're just the like night. What are the lights on the back of a car called at night?
Yeah, not brake lights, are they? Are we simple?
Are they called headlights as well?
Back of the headlight.
Backlight. Oh my god!
No,
I feel like I'm one of them TikToks where they ask like what 2 divided by 2 is or whatever, and then people are just like, no, it doesn't exist.
I've no idea. Anyway, it's those.
The lights at the back of the car.
Yeah,
those are red, and it kind of looks like a smile, but
does,
it looks
yeah.
quite like a horror film movie cover or something like, and it's called All Hell. Like it's quite sinister actually. Like the album cover, I'd say it does look like some sort of murder is going to happen.
This is the most I've looked
I like it.
And I'm not sure how much it suits them. Really, it's a bit odd, isn't it?
I don't think it suits how pretty the album is.
Yeah, but I like it.
Yeah, no, I like it. I think it would only have to go in my office here.
Yeah, it's got.
Because I think it would actually go quite nicely then, like with the.
It would actually.
The alien stuff and that, like, it's quite dark, but
yeah, it's sort of too dark and creepy for anywhere else, isn't it?
Yeah,
Office. You
put it up in the living room. I don't know. I'll send you a picture of my living room. It is very goth. It's painted all green. Have I got a whole living room? Did you say?
I said, have you got a goth living room?
Yeah, it's quite goth.
Is it?
There's like a whole cabinet with like dead animals and taxidermy and
vials of blood.
There is a vial of something weird that Soph got, like witch's tears or something. Mad. Witch's tears. Dragon piss or something. I don't know. Something weird. And
she's such a goth. Loves dragon piss.
So we've gone full goth in there, but yeah. So I would put this up in the living room. I may well do. I won't actually, because I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10, Ben.
Ooh, no, that's fine. That's fine. We've ascertained that is a positive mark, even though it doesn't feel it.
Yes, it's a good album. Still good. Yeah. I think it's good, but I don't think bar that one song, I'd probably put it on again, which is mad considering me and you like a lot of the same stuff, but equally sometimes this happens where you're completely wrong about the story so far, and I'm probably completely wrong about this.
We do diverge. That's fine. That's why we're doing this.
Exactly.
We'll never fall out.
On that note, bye. I'm joking.
Oh no, I'm glad you liked it.
What would you give it out of 10, Ben? I'm guessing you're going actually probably a 9.
I would go 9.
Would you?
Close to a 10. There's like a couple
10's legendary though.
Feast of Tongues, I wanted his voice to go up at the end. This is such a petty thing, but it's such a moving
so it's
song.
A 9 from me.
And I know he's got it in him. In some of his old stuff, he goes proper like punk, and his voice goes up an octave. And I was like, mate, if he'd taken that chorus up one step at the end of Feast of Tongues, that'd be like the greatest song of all time for me.
We can't all be as good as you.
Yeah. Well, you know. So yes, a 9 from me, which is still massive.
Which is a
basic. Yeah, I mean,
top tier.
Bonkers. I still can't think if there are any 10s. There must be.
There are 10s.
I haven't thought about it much. We're gonna have to at some point.
10 is an album you can put on any time, I think, and just enjoy. But it doesn't have to mean it's the best album.
No, does it not? It has to be perfect though, surely, even if it's not the best album. Because is the Big Dirty perfect? Not for me to say. I know it is for me to say, isn't it? That's what we're talking about.
What the fuck are we here?
Yeah, maybe the Big Day is probably a 10. Isn't it? I'll have a think. We'll have a think because we'll do something.
We'll have a think. Speaking of a Barack, no, we did that already. You were talking about the Big Dirty being a 10.
Yes.
This bonus album that we did this week, I don't know why I did it. It's probably one of the albums I've listened to the most ever.
Wow.
I'd say. Just at a stage when it came out that it was probably something that I had on repeat. Again, we spoke about like CD players in cars and like only having one album or whatever. It was something that was on constant rotation basically, and still is now. Occasionally I'll put this on at least a couple of times a year, easy. But Taking Back Sunday, Where You Want to Be, turned 20 years old, which is mental because that makes me feel old as shit.
That's so depressing.
Very, very sad times for us as older gentlemen. This made me feel. But yeah, we decided to listen to this as a bit of a throwback. And I reckon Ben's probably listened to it once, maybe back in the day, is my guess. And that Ben probably only likes Tell All Your Friends from Taking Back Sunday. Is going to be my guess.
To do this bit now because you literally
have I ruined the whole thing?
Absolutely nailed it.
Go on. What? Because I'm more intrigued to hear what you thought on reflection of Where You Want to Be.
It's weird, man. I was trying to remember what my relationship was like with it, as wanky as that sounds, because I loved Tell All Your Friends so much that I was like, well, I must have listened to Where You Want to Be.
You must have given it a spin.
So I was obsessed. But I think they're one of those bands. I've always said I can't think of a band where I loved them, where my love for them burned so brightly yet so like shortly. I was obsessed, and then I don't even know what happened. I just suddenly was like, yeah, I don't think I really like Taking Back Sunday, I'll be honest.
They got popular, that's what happened.
I don't think I was that, and they never got that popular. I don't think I was that guy.
I think they were quite big.
I probably was. I don't think I was.
Nah, I know what you mean. I mean, sometimes you are just obsessed with an album.
Slightly different stuff. And like, I never disliked. I wasn't like, this is shit. I just don't remember Where You Want to Be. I must have listened to it once and listened to it back. I was like, oh, you remember this? And it was like having lovely nostalgia for weirdly something I wasn't that into. But because I love Tell All Your Friends so much, and obviously same band, sound the same. Look,
it's not Ben. It is not the same band that you listen to.
Post Fallout,
famously Taking Back Sunday. I mean, I was in Taking Back Sunday for a small period of time. Like, I think everyone's had a go.
National Service.
But yeah, this was after Nolan, like John Nolan, went to do Stray Light Run. Not Stray Light Run. What are they called? That other band. I've forgotten the name of. And the bassist. So this was when like Fred Machino, I'm going to call him for now, came in. So it was almost like, to me, this album's almost like they had two singers.
Yeah.
Like actually two singers, not a singer and a guy doing other bits. Like there's points in this album for me where it is two singers singing a song, like almost their own song, but it works really well as its own thing.
I love it. I'm aware. But to me,
they're very similar voices.
Different. I didn't even notice the difference really, because I remember Tell All Your Friends having a lot of dual vocals. Was that with John Nolan, did you say?
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't listened to Tell All Your Friends for a long time, so I probably should have re-listened to that.
That's still a banger.
I mean, that will do things to me when I hear songs from that. Like the nostalgia is off the
That's a 10. I'll say it. I'll put it out there. Tell All Your Friends is a 10.
Ratings are hard, aren't they? In terms of what it meant to me at the time, it is a 10. I would agree.
At the time, would you have given it a 10?
Yeah, 100%. Oh, mate, I was obsessed.
I think listening again now, it's still flawless. I think it's still flawless. And again, going back to what we were saying about Transit, completely different, but the same concept is that they matured as songwriters, and Where You Want to Be is much more polished.
Yeah.
Versus the rawness and like some of the more interesting bits in Tell All Your Friends.
Yeah. And again, those the first songs they wrote and the first songs they would have played.
And they played a ton, and they've got, I feel like they hit a bit more.
Yeah.
Like a bit harder. That said, for me, this is just not purely on it, because I think the songs are great and everything's really well written on the album, but it just serves such a big part of my being, how old would I have been? 36, so I would have been 16.
Yeah.
This was literally get a car, get a CD player time. I was obsessed with this album. Listen to it every day. And then me and Jay, our friend Jay, who we've been in a band with for a bit, or both been in bands with, we used to drive in the car on the way home from gigs, and quite often put this on. And when it was like late, you know, when you're like driving back from like a gig and stuff, like 1 a.m. or whatever. We used to put this on, and we used to do which I'm sure people do with their girlfriends, and I've seen on TikTok. But we used to do the dual vocals, but we used to pick who was going to be who, and used to drive home and do the like, no, I'm doing Fred, no, I'm doing Adam, and drive home and do the vocals together. Yeah, how romantic's that?
Lovely.
Before we both got married off, back in the good old days.
Because our age difference now is like nothing. You wouldn't even notice it, but when you're that age, as in when these albums came out, I think it's quite a big deal. And we'll start to notice that at some point, because I'm like 3 years older than you. So yeah, when this came out, I think I just moved on. Whereas Tell All Your Friends came out at roughly the same time.
At the same time, but for you.
Yeah. Such a big deal to me. And then you kind of, like, not moves on really unfair, because they're a great band, and I really enjoyed listening to this album, man. Like, it was great, and I definitely listened to it back in the day. But I just had moved on to some other stuff, I think, and so it didn't really hit me at the time. But it was a lovely listen. I've got so much time for them, man. Just what they meant to me back then. What Adam meant to me back then as a front man,
as a singer.
What a guy, and he's still beautiful.
He is.
Old.
Controversially, I've seen them 5 times, and I'd say they are Taken Back Sunday are the worst and best band I've ever seen live.
Do you know what I think? A lot of the bands from that era and in that scene are fucking wild in terms of like the quality live. Like, I almost don't want to name names, but fuck it. Like, some of those bands, I've seen Senses Fail a couple of times. It's one of the worst gigs I've ever been to. And then equally, really good.
Yeah.
Like, they seem to just swing wildly. I think I'm the same with Take Back Sunday. I saw them a few times back in the day, and sometimes they would sound incredible. I never seemed any rhyme or reason to it. I have no idea.
I've seen them at Slam Dunk twice.
Yeah.
First time, basically inaudible, and they were so sloppy, everything sounded a mess. And then the second time I saw them was one of the best gigs I've ever been to.
Yeah, what the fuck?
And the same happened when I saw them at Brixton Academy, maybe way back in the day.
Yeah.
Like maybe when this came out around that time, and it was fucking like mind blowing. Maybe of the time as well helps. Like,
yeah,
just 17, 18, and it's just like you're with your friends and you're living your best life.
Yeah.
And then me and Soph saw them at the Roundhouse, and they were amazing. But then I saw them in between that. Can't remember where, Kingston maybe or something like that, and they were shocking, like to the point where I left before they finished, which I rarely would do at a band I love.
Yeah,
they were that bad. Like, he was like really breathy. I mean, it wasn't Axl Rose from Reading a few years ago, but it was, and he didn't look like him, but it wasn't a million miles away, and just sounded like an absolute bin bag. Yeah, it was awful. So yeah, they'd honestly go down
like well-rehearsed bands. I don't think we give that enough credit sometimes. Being like, I still go to gigs and I'm just amazed that bands don't seem to get out of breath. As someone who did like 3 gigs a year tops, like bands not getting out of breath
for every single one.
Yeah. And not having to stop between songs, and not having to look at a set list and all this shit. And I'm like, oh, wow. Yeah. Bands are really well rehearsed. Fair play.
Yeah, drilled.
So if you occasionally see a band who you can consider a big band that are like, oh, maybe they were a bit under rehearsed, it's quite jarring, I think.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
But
I'm with you of bands of that time. I do think there was a certain sound that if you didn't quite, on recording, it's quite well produced, and the bass from the bass drum cut through quite nicely. But if you were to hear that and it wasn't as punchy, I feel like sometimes the only way I can describe it is like you've got the lows, mids, and the highs, and sometimes it sounds like everything's up here at a gig, and the bass doesn't travel. And if there's not much bass in the band anyway, I'll call it out. But like, I've seen Kids in Glass Houses. I saw them at Trees, and I saw them years ago, and they sounded the same. It was the same thing. I'd say it wasn't awful or anything. They played well and stuff like that, but it just had it didn't have much bollocks about it. Like, it was just very all high and mids, and that just gets lost in a big space. as
think a
someone
lot
that's
of the,
worked in audio, like it does just go. And I feel like, yeah, some bands like that, sometimes it can depend. The sound man can make or break it, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of the guitar tones in that scene were like quite shrill and stuff, and obviously the vocals. The whole point was they were meant to be a bit dodgy, is the wrong word. I like that. They're not like the cleanest vocals, are they?
No.
Which is good. But yeah, then when it comes to being live, you're right. The kind of, if the sound man doesn't absolutely nail it, it can just sound like absolute dog shit. And that also doesn't always matter. Like at the drive-in, good example.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter
It doesn't
what they
matter.
sound like.
Yeah, but that's execution as well. Like that comes into it, and like passion makes a performance sometimes, doesn't it? What are you saying on song titles? We may as well do the usual.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
I'm looking now, but I think there's some good ones. I think there's some more. They're like not generic.
Yeah, I do like.
But they're
they
not
are quite emo.
Yeah,
but good emo. Like
Bonus Mosh Part 2. Yeah, it's well emo.
But also great. I love stuff like that. Like Ballsy. I Am Fred Astaire is fucking cool. Set Phases to Stun is cool. They're all quite like Call to Armsy, aren't they? They're all quite first tracky.
Yeah. Number 5 with a bullet is well emo.
That is really emo. Slow Dance on the Inside that's too far.
Yeah, proper emo. They've gone too far. They've gone. Actually. They slipped. Yeah, slipped. A Decade Under the Influence is a great song title.
Really
it's
cool,
probably my favourite song on the album.
Yeah, I really like that.
It's just a banger.
I like Where You Want to Be as well as a title, which is not. You know what? I like an album name that isn't a song title. I was just double checking.
There's a bit of a cop out in it.
It is a cop out, and again, I've definitely done it, but it is a cop out. You're right. You just need one more title, lads. Stop being so lazy. It's ridiculous.
Do you know the little thing that they do on all their albums?
What's that?
That every album on the album cover has a
naked
just clicked on
child.
cute about the E. Has a naked child's ass on it. No, has a reference to Exit 152, which I think is like where they lived or something like that.
Oh, that's cool.
On Tell All Your Friends, it says Exit 152.
Oh yeah.
On Where You Want to Be, it says next exit 152 miles. On Louder Now, it says $1.52 to get in. Like there's like a reference on all their album covers.
That's very cool.
And then the last album they brought out was called 152, which I haven't listened to.
Oh yeah.
But they try and always have this reference to 152 on it.
Which Pixar do the same thing. Interestingly.
Well, they've always got that bloody clownfish in it. Oh, what?
They've always got like the number of their first address or something in their films.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it 152 Wallaby Way, Sydney?
I don't think so.
It's not 152. Imagine that was like Taking Back Sunday reference.
That would be weird, wouldn't it?
Pixar.
I didn't know that. I can't believe I
album cover.
I like the album cover.
I like the album cover.
I do like it, actually.
We've got to watch how much we say we like it.
Yeah, because it's.
I have a 2-year-old, so it's less weird from me.
Yeah, true. Do we know who the child is? This child.
Is it one of the band?
No, yours is.
I don't know who my child is.
I don't know if it's the photo, though. It's quite. It's quite evocative. What's he looking for?
I think it's obviously a picture on top of a painting.
Yeah. I
think it's cool. I think it's cool.
It's not going up in my house, I'll tell you that for nothing.
No. If it was my child, I think it would be okay. But even then, it'd probably only be up in her room.
I think some serious questions are being asked. If that's up in my room.
Whose kid's that? I don't know. That's weird. Yeah, that crosses the line. Getting a blurry line. But I think it's cool. It's cool. It's different, I guess.
Their band name is so perfect, isn't it?
Yeah,
because it's it's shit if you think about it for more than 2 seconds. But it sounds really cool.
It rolls off the tongue well.
Yeah, like it suits them perfectly, and that's the perfect band name in my opinion. One that's
I don't know where it came from. I'll have to Google it. I know there's some good ones that have got like some cool like background behind them that's not what you think. Like I know "Funeral for a Friend," like that's the name of a Elton John song.
Yes, that rings a bell.
That's where they got that from.
That's cool, isn't it?
It's the name of an Elton John song is where they got a band like a screamo post-hardcore. I don't know what you'd call them, but band got their name from. I love stuff like that.
Well, I think "Hell Is for Heroes" is similar because that sounds like a perfect emo post-hardcore name, but it's just some old film from the 60s, I think.
We used to, when we were stuck for song titles, we used to go through the local newspaper, and look for random like terms that sounded really good. And we had this is well emo, but like there was like a fire somewhere, and the headline was "A Blaze of Autumn Glory," and we were like, that's too good to not use as a song title. So we called a song that. Which I actually now think I'm like, okay, if that was on that album, I'd be like, that's a cool song title.
I also really, I was a big fan of your song "Local Man Flashes Woman." That was a banger.
Amazing. I think on that note, Ben,
it's good stuff.
This is quality stuff. This. On that note, Ben, it's been a pleasure. What we listening to? We do this every week.
Oh my god! I actually I had some. Oh shit! Sorry, I genuinely forgot.
I've got something which is.
And then I gave you "Lost Camp" instead because I got so obsessed with it.
I've got something.
Is that you?
Yeah, no, I can hear it. No. Oh, no, it's you, mate.
Press play on Take Back Sunday. Sorry.
Is that me listening to Take Back Sunday, or is that you listening to Take Back Sunday? I've got one for you.
Go on.
It's a bit rogue, and I don't reckon you've listened to the whole album. And it just so happens I re-listened to the album.
Yeah.
After listening to Taking Back Sunday, and at the time was like legit one of my best albums, and just got a bit of a place in my memory just because again age and stuff like that. But I don't reckon you've ever listened to that much, which I will reference as my favourite band, but not a great band, if that makes sense, because I'm aware they're not amazing, but they were the band that first got me into this kind of music. But is the Blink 182 or 182, whatever you want to bloody call them, self-titled album.
This is a great
that
show.
One.
Yeah, because I've never listened to Blink really.
Which has got I Miss You on it, which you'll obviously know.
Yeah.
But I actually think it's a bit of a sleeper album. I think it's a good album, but let's see what you think.
I'm genuinely excited to listen to that because, they're one of the bands that just passed me by and, pretty well known, I would say.
Yeah.
So I'll give it a go. I was going to pick for you before I went to Lost Camp the Initiate album, Cerebral Circus.
Say that again, mate.
Cerebral Circus by Initiate, which came out last year, because I thought we'd gone a bit cock heavy for a start, but also I fucking loved this album. It's just a really cool little hardcore album.
Oh yes,
I keep giving you like 20-minute hardcore albums. You're so lucky.
Perfect. I mean, I keep listening to them at the gym, so that also might be why Los Campesinos didn't hit as well.
Yeah, it's not very gymmy, is it? To be fair to it.
No, I deadlift into it. Well, didn't really fit, if I'm honest. I kept wanting to put Rotten Out back on.
Oh, what sad deadlift he's doing.
Oh,
pity him.
We'll end it there on the pity deadlifts. That's a t-shirt waiting to happen.
Done.